on the Brahmins.
He's saying it's a bloodline.
It's a blood. You can't
Do you know what?
That's Judaism.
Okay.
That's Judaism.
So when it comes to the
He
Brahmins,
doesn't know about Brahminism.
Okay, when we come to the Brahmins,
That's no problem.
do you know what a Brahmin actually is?
I don't.
A Brahmin.
Sorry, he became a Buddhist, not Brahmin.
A Brahmin.
Did I say Brahmin?
A
Okay.
Brahmin.
What I meant, he became from a Hindu
Can
to
you
a
let me
Buddhist.
speak?
And Dr. Ambedkar was a lower caste. He changed his religion from Hinduism
Can you-
to Buddhism. By mistake, if I said Brahmin, I meant Buddhism.
Can you let me
Buddhism.
answer?
You know, today thousands of people change their religion
Brahmin-
from Hinduism to either Muslim, to Christianity, to Buddhism because of the caste system. So don't tell me it's just Varna
Okay.
or
Getting
Korea.
back to your point about Brahmins. Do you know what a Brahmin actually is? A
No.
Brahmin simply means, and it is a Varna term, not a caste term.
It is a caste term.
It's
called
no,
Brahmin
it's not.
Jati.
No,
Go and look it up. You don't know this.
No, it's
You
not.
don't know this.
No, it's not.
Make your point, please.
A Brahmin, it means literally the Varna of the teacher. It means it means a school teacher. And all school teachers were automatically Brahmins across the whole of India. And when you stop being a school teacher, you stop being a Brahmin.
That's
That
not true.
is a fact.
That is not true.
That is
shall
a
I tell
fact.
you? Shall I tell you why that's
That
not
is a fact.
Okay,
That is a fact.
can I respond to that?
And so
now-
this idea that Brahmins are discriminating against the other castes makes no sense.
You're wrong.
Because it's like saying
absolutely
the
wrong.
school teacher,
Absolutely
the
wrong.
school teacher is discriminating against the students that is his job to go and teach.
Sorry,
it
mate,
doesn't
you're
make any
wrong again.
sense.
That is-
You're making
okay,
it.
now
You're
can I-
making
no,
up.
no,
You're making-
And
you're-
it makes no sense whatsoever.
Can I respond to that?
This is where you've got
trying- yeah,
propaganda.
Now you just,
This is
you
where
want
you've
that
got
agree
Can I
propaganda.
respond to that?
Now you
Okay,
start-
brother, let me respond to that. Now let me respond without interrupting. He says the Brahmins are considered to be just teachers. Now listen to this.
School teachers,
There-
literally school teachers.
there is something-
the meaning of a Brahmin.
There is something called the Brahmin Jati.
The first schools on
Will you
earth were
stop
established
interrupting?
in
Will you
India.
stop interrupting when I'm talking? I didn't interrupt
I
you.
barely get like one sentence.
I think you should go and watch video because you're the one talking the most
I
here.
doubt that.
Okay,
I
you will.
seriously doubt.
You.
If we do a word count, I bet you he gets 2 words in for every one of mine.
That is completely false. He probably get 3 words for every one of mine. In the Mahabharata,
let him go.
in the Mahabharata number 1327.
Okay, come in here. He says,
to be on camera, but I'm just saying, I'm from a Hindu background.
Really?
Hey, come here, don't eat. This camera's alright.
Why are you scared of the camera? You already covered your face.
covered.
Why so insecure?
okay.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Okay, anyway, because okay, so Mahabharata number 1327, it says
yes.
Even in this country, we have a hierarchy.
no, the hierarchy of an untouchable is not a hierarchy. Don't get me that. Untouchable.
What stops a
You see, you didn't let me finish again.
Let me finish.
No, you didn't let me finish.
What stops a metal worker? What stops a metal
Let me
worker
finish.
from moving to the next village and becoming a school teacher, which means he's a Brahmin?
It's got nothing to do with school
We
teacher.
don't have
That's
political
rubbish.
power based on these roles.
Brother, Brahmin is called a jati. Brahmin is, you can only become a Brahmin based on your lineage. Yeah. So if you read Mahabharata, if you let me get a word in between,
A jati literally means group.
jati means group.
Yes.
Okay. So what?
Sanskrit.
Wait.
From Sanskrit,
Why do you
jati is how it's pronounced,
Okay,
by
so-
the way. How means group.
Okay, how
That's
is
the literal meaning. It means group.
Okay, so group of Brahmins.
And
So what?
jati basically means
Right. How
any
is it-
group. So a regiment in an army is a jati.
No, that's not true.
A regiment in an army is a jati.
How was it practiced?
And in fact, in the Maratha army, the jatis were famous, which was the regimental system in the jati army.
So you are the Brahmin jati, you are the Kshatriya jati,
Yes.
and you are the. This is what
means group.
So this is not based on a Varana class, not based on the career. Thank you. It's not based on that.
Jati from Sanskrit just means group.
Yeah. So what? A group of people who are called Brahmins.
Doesn't mean caste.
It's still, it is based on the birth.
It doesn't mean caste.
Okay.
How was it practiced?
Okay,
That's an English word.
now the Mahabharata, which he doesn't let me quote, he keeps interrupting.
How was this practiced?
Bruh, listen to this.
Was it
It
practiced
says,
by definition?
There
it
was
says,
social mobility to go upwards and downwards. There was a
Based on the
social
birth.
hierarchy.
a group based on the birth.
Half of the society was the people who were to be respected the most.
It's based on the
Let me
birth.
finish.
Was it based on bloodline?
The birth, yes.
No.
He said
Yes, yes.
No, it was.
I can prove it to you from the Mahabharata, number 1327. It says, Yudhishthira asked questions about how persons from the 3 lower castes can attain the status as Brahmins. Bhishma answers them. He says Brahmin status is unobtainable for these castes in the same birth. Only through innumerable births they can hope to be a Brahmin.
means your
So
son, daughter, can have a higher
completely
caste.
refutes him.
That means your
This
son
guy
and
has been
daughter
lying
can
all
have a
along.
caste.
He's been lying all along.
According to your quote.
He said he's only
According to
teachers.
your
That is a lie.
According to your quote, it means your son and daughter can be a Brahmin.
Yeah,
if they're an untouchable.
Only if you're Brahmin.
Yeah, no. You, according to that quote, your son and daughter can be a Brahmin.
When?
If you're
When?
untouchable.
When?
Because through rebirth, you can
Thank you. So not through the same birth. Rebirth means many rebirths. It says
your
here.
son and daughter can do a different job.
And here's the rebirth.
That means the
Very
jobs
good.
can change.
And now,
Son and daughter, exactly the point I made.
but
at
after the
beginning.
rebirths, after the
The very
rebirths,
first point I
you
made.
forgot to mention the
You've
rebirths.
proven me right and you wrong.
No, you forgot to mention the
It
rebirths.
means your son and daughter can be the prime minister.
After the rebirth.
Your son and daughter can be a
After the
Brahmin.
rebirths.
If you're
Which you
untouchable,
keep
your son and
ignoring.
daughter
Which you
can be
keep
a Brahmin.
ignoring. You know why you have been refuted again? From the Hindu
You
scriptures.
just proven me right.
No, I did
By the
not.
way,
From the rebirths. Did you see that? It is from the rebirths they become. So when you become many rebirths, then you might become a Brahmin. Not in the same birth. Which is the reason he didn't want me to read the Mahabharata.
Listen. Listen. He's saying not in the same birth.
And I read it here as well.
If you're untouchable, your son and daughter can become a Brahmin
But
and
not
the
me.
prime minister.
Read the last statement here, brother.
But not me.
Brother, read this. Read
You
this.
could have from your birth.
Read the one I've highlighted. Read it
So
aloud.
everyone can from their birth.
Read it aloud. What does this say?
Everyone gets born.
Only three.
What does it
Everybody
mean?
gets born.
Only through innumerable births, which he didn't want to mention earlier. That is the reason I say he's lying. The Brahmins are not just based, they're teachers. Look at the way, like you said,
Through your birth.
my friend, you have been
Through your
proven to be
birth,
lying.
no.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't mention that.
Through your birth, you can change your vocation.
Thank you. So you agree it's based
birth
on-
you can.
So you agree it's not the same birth.
So long as you're
It's not a teacher.
so long as you are apprenticed.
Now he's
you can.
backtracking. Now he's backtracking. You've been exposed on the camera.
I haven't.
You should be.
You
should be
through
ashamed.
your birth, you can change.
Only through innumerable births.
But who defines that? You define that yourself. Okay, the innumerable births are done. I'm going to change and be a Brahmin.
That's from the Mahabharata, not from me. It's from the Hindu
I
scriptures.
say myself, innumerable births are done. Now I'm a Brahmin.
Exactly. So you're
It
basically.
all depends on can I do it. I'm born. I go and try, do an apprenticeship with a
he's
Brahmin.
saying that.
Can I be a Brahmin? I'm a Brahmin.
After how many births?
I say the innumerable births are done with me.
Innumerable births. Did you see that? How would you know which birth you're going to become?
He's claiming the immutable. He's claiming. He said.
No. Now he's
didn't
backtracking.
decide.
Earlier he said they were just teachers. He's backtracked so many times. This guy flip flops. You know.
Brahmins
when he
were
finds
literally
when
school
I-
teachers.
when I
That's the literal meaning of a Brahmin.
You know,
it's not an ethnic group.
speaking of school, I schooled you from the Mahabharata. That's why you retract. You lied.
My friend.
You lied.
Our
You said they were only
Our
teachers.
Brahmin school
They were only teachers. Yes, Brahmins can be. Can the
heard him say
Kshatriyas?
that.
Can the
Kshatriyas means warrior.
okay? Can they be school teachers? Because today you don't have war in India.
Listen,
Okay, can they be school teachers?
Can who be school
The
teachers?
Kshatriyas.
Yes.
Okay.
The sons and daughters can be.
So what is the uniqueness about the Brahmin being a school
There
teacher?
isn't being any uniqueness. That's the
Thank
point
you.
I'm making.
So Brahmin doesn't mean school teacher. Thank you. You just proved yourself wrong
What
again.
we're saying.
Oh my
Anybody
God.
can become a school teacher if they can do the job.
But you said they were called Brahmins, school teacher. Everyone who's a school teacher is called a Brahmin.
fact is-
That is
the
utter
fact is-
rubbish.
Just a theological.
Utter
It's a
nonsense.
theological
Yeah,
concept.
yeah, it's a theological question.
Okay, so
What
now
we're doing
that's
is-
theological
what we've
concept.
established anyway.
you know even the
is that
Kshatriyas.
there's a lot of
wait,
propaganda.
even the
And there's a lot of
Kshatriyas.
misquoting.
Even the Kshatriyas, the caste.
saying-
Wait. Brahmins, then come the Kshatriyas, and then come the Vaishyas.
Anyway, it's nice
The
to meet you.
Kshatriyas and the
I'll
Vaishyas
see you
cannot
next
become Brahmin. What's your name, by the way?
It's very late. It's
What's your
Bill.
name? Bill?
Nice to meet
Okay, my name is Hashim. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking.
Make sure you watch this on Dawah channel
Okay.
and see how many times you lied and how many times I caught you.
I don't
And
think
I schooled you. I'm not a Brahmin, but I schooled you. Okay, Jazakallah khair, brothers and sisters. You see, this is the difference between Islam and Hinduism. Hinduism, guys like him, they are born Hindus maybe, but then they left their religion. They want to go about and say that, oh, I like Islam, I like bit of Christianity, bit of Buddhism, bit of Hinduism, and then they try to say, yes, look, I'm a great guy, I'm a good man. But then what they do is they actually push everything that the Hindus consider to be sacred and religious under the bus, and they do the same thing with the Buddhists and the Muslims and the Christians as well. They don't actually, they're not loyal to any of these. They pick and mix, and this is exactly what the Emperor Akbar did in India. He wanted to please everyone. So what he did, he picked a bit of from every religion, and then he portrayed it as a new religion called Deen-e-Ilahi. What happened? That particular religion flopped. It was a waste of time, and everybody realized that this is nothing but his own whims and desires. Similarly, Bill here, yes, who considers that the British should have stayed in India, and I don't think anyone who is a proud Indian would ever say that. Yes, this guy is mentally colonized, and that's the reason he wants the Brits still to be in India. Of course they did good, but whom did they do good to? Whom did they lay out the railways for? It wasn't for the Indian people to be transported easily. It was for the goods to be transported all over India. So they can use the money of the Indians to become more rich. They colonize the country not for the sake of the Indians or to give them a better life. Yes, when the Mughals were there, and I'm not saying the Mughals were all perfect either, they had their bad habits and they had their bad history as well. But when they came there, they stayed there. Yes, they made that their country. They built monuments like the Taj Mahal, which India is still proud of, and India gets a lot of revenue from that. They get a lot of money on Mughal architecture, like the Qutub Minar, like the Taj Mahal, like the Red Fort. During every Independence Day, the Prime Minister, they go there and they unfurl the flag of India, and they're proud of it. They showcase their army over there in a Mughal architecture. Sorry, this particular building, the Red Fort, built by the Mughals as well, and they also get a lot of revenue from that throughout the year, just like the Taj Mahal and so on. So when the Mughals came to India, they stayed there. They made it that country. Like he said, it became the richest country in the world because of the Mughals. Yes, and this is what happens between the difference between a colonialist and some people. You know, at that time they did not have the United Nations, so they didn't have like a what do you say, a state system like we do today. So every major king or emperor, they used to invade another country when they had lots of army or lots of money, and this was a norm at that time. Yes, so when you read about Ashoka, he conquered all the way to Afghanistan himself. How did that happen? Because he was a conqueror. He was, you know why Ashoka is called the greatest today in India? Because they acknowledge that he was a great emperor who expanded India greatly. And this is the reason he's on the coins in India. I think his statue, not himself, but the 4 lions which represent Ashoka's lions, and even the Ashoka pillar in India, which they're proud of as a national heritage. So they used to respect this. They didn't say that, oh, he killed thousands and millions of people, hence we're going to reject him. And by the way, Ashoka also changed from Hinduism to Buddhism, just like Dr. Ambedkar changed from Hinduism to Buddhism. And there are many flaws within that. They have the sati system. He says that's propaganda. It's not propaganda. What happened when Krishna died? His wife committed suicide. She jumped in fire. And this is in the books. When Krishna died, yes, Krishna, one of the god, they can die as well. Yes, and this is what we know. You know, recently they made some Bollywood movies in, I think it's called Padmavat or something. And this queen, this Hindu queen, when she feared her life, she took part in something called Dawah, which is where they try to save their honor by jumping into fire. So jumping into fire is something which is quite predominant. Before the Brits came, actually it was the Brits, the colonialists, who stopped this evil practice of widows burning called sati and this Dawah and whatever it is. It was the Brits who stopped this. So they did do some good, other than educating them and building railways and the postal system and the education system, which many of the Indians are still proud of. Yes, so there are good things they have done. I'm not saying no, but to say that I wish the Brits had stayed in India and under the yoke of colonialism, I think this guy's lost it. He's probably a coconut, I think. Yes, who is brown from the outside and still white inside, you know. And I don't mean like this is something that he probably just learned in a day or so, something that has developed in his whole life. Yes, he has internalized it to such a level that he wants to remain both mentally colonized and also physically colonized. Yes, and this, you know, no one in India would want colonization, or anywhere in any country would want colonization. Nobody would, because colonization was evil. It was selfish. It was to actually bring money to Britain and to make Britain a great nation. They used to say that the sun never set in the British Empire. Look what happened today. It has set. Okay? So anyway, look, all I'm saying is that there are flaws in every single empire, every single dynasty. Nobody's perfect. But to to use propaganda like the way he did, saying that the caste system is just something which is called Varana and is based on the vocation, is based on the career, the type of career you choose. No. When I showed him evidence from their own scriptures, Upanishads and the Mahabharatas, which existed before the Mughals came, before the British came, then it is not propaganda, it is in your own scriptures. If you want to throw that under the bus, that's your prerogative. But do not say that this is propaganda. It is pretty real. Go to India today, they don't even get married until they check what caste they belong to. They don't even get married until they look at the horoscope if they match. This is the amount of discrimination they have there. So there is a lot of discrimination in India, no doubt about it. To just push it under the carpet is not going to resolve anything. To solve the problem, you have to first acknowledge it, that there is definitely a problem with the different castes. Go to any and look up any newspaper articles. You will, sorry, not articles, the matrimonials, the newspaper matrimonials, and you will see that they specify which caste they want to get married with, yes, and they specify that this has to be the same caste, yes, and this is not something which is optional. It is mandatory for the marriage even. So yes, caste system is pretty much alive. It's got nothing to do with occupation anymore, because I don't think there's only 4 occupations in India. If anybody says that, then they must be really silly to say. You can bunch them, group them under, but this different jati, they call them the Brahmin jati, the Kshatriya jati, the Vaishya jati, and the Shudra jati. And the Shudra are the lowest, that's why they call lower caste. The reason they had to actually write a constitution and have special clause for the protection of this lower caste speaks volumes. The reason is because they were indeed getting discriminated and still are getting discriminated in India. There's no doubt about this. And then there are people who are even beyond these 4 castes that they have, the 4 Varanas which they call. They're not even fit enough to be fitted into these 4 categories of society that they have used. They're called the Dalits and the Chandals, who are the untouchables. So if a Hindu touches them, especially a Brahmin, he'll go and take a shower, because they are so, I don't know, impure, unclean, and they will cast them as untouchables. Recently, there have been news articles in the Indian newspapers where a particular Dalit or someone who's an untouchable, who's a lower caste, he actually touched the pole which connects one of the idols. He didn't even touch the idol directly. He touched a pole which is keeping it standing, you know. And he, yes, I think it was a Shudra. And he was, I think it was a kid actually. His parents were punished something like 60,000 rupees as a punishment for touching the pole that connects the idol. This is the amount of discrimination there is. Yes, many of the women are actually raped and killed because they should know their place in society. That's what they were told. Yes, this was an article I read in Reuters which I wanted to bring up to him, but he didn't want to indulge in that. So yes, acknowledge these different discriminations which are found in your own scriptures, yes, including the Manusmriti, which I didn't mention with regards to caste system, but it actually gives you the rules of what a Kshatriya should do, what is the position of a caste, whether they should be touched or not, based on the lower caste or not. This is all mentioned in the scriptures. It's actually like a rule book, and that's called Manu's rule, this Manusmriti. And this is many Hindus consider to be a sacred book of this, and they respect it as religiously. There are, neo-Hindus like these guys, they wouldn't care about anything. They would, as soon as it disagrees with their modernist views, they will chuck it under the bus. So for them, they have no difference between a religious book or something which their own whims and desires agree or disagree with. So they always go with what their own whims and desires agree, rather than the scripture which the Hindus consider to be a religious book. There's a big difference between the two. One is your own opinion, the other is considered to be sacred and holy for many of the thousands and millions of Hindus who believe in the scriptures. With that, Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't forget to subscribe to Dawah and the other channels here as well. Jazakallah khairan.